Tayasui is a great free app that I've been playing around with recently, and I just wanted to show you how I went about making a little mark making project. So the app itself is really intuitive, and the tools are almost like using the real thing. So on the left hand side are all the tools that you can choose from. I've selected the shape making tool, and on the right hand side are all the colours. So now what I'm doing is I'm using the slider to select my colours, and I can pick anything I want. There's a huge selection, and I'm just drawing with the shape maker tool to make these blob shapes. And the thing I really like about this is that I can change the size of the brush, I can change the opacity, and it really gives it that realistic watercolour feeling, which is great. It's really interesting here actually when you layer up the paint on top of each other. It does give that feeling that there's two layers of paint that have dried on top of one another. So sticking with the watercolour brush but moving on to this peachy brown tone, I love how the rough edge of this shape really looks as though it's watercolour paint that's dried on paper. Swapping over to the paint pen tool, I'm changing my colour again and I'm zooming in, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and put some pattern onto this shape. So as you can see, it's really cool that the way that you apply the pen strokes is that kind of natural way where it's thicker at one end and thin at the other. I should point out here as well that actually the harder you press on the pen, the thicker the marks are. Using two fingers to pinch and zoom on the frame, you can move around your canvas, and I've swapped over now to the airbrush tool. I'm going to put a white pigment in there, and I'm just going to spray over that blue colour just to give a bit of texture. What's really fun is that if you listen carefully, you can actually hear the noise that the real tools would make. Back to my felt pen tool, and I'm going to change colour. And zooming in slightly, I'm just going to draw another pattern, just draw some circles on top of this texture that I've created using my stylus. And once I'm happy with those, I am going to select the paint bucket tool, and I'm going to pick my colour and click on the paint bucket, and just by tapping those circles I can fill them in with colour and texture. And of course, if you make a mark or a line that you don't like, at the top left there's a backspace arrow, and you press that and it takes it away. Picking up that pen tool again, I've selected a thick, heavy line to go for my zigzag pattern, and then I'll just swap over and try something finer to go for a contrast there. Swapping back to the pencil tool, I'm going to change colour as well to a grey tone to carry on with the zigzags. I really enjoy the realistic, rough look of this brush and how it gives the effect of a real pencil on paper. So ask any of my students and they'll tell you that I absolutely love using craft knives to chop up and move around pieces of their work, and I love a good collage. So this is something that you can actually do in the app as well. You can use the scalpel tool to select areas of your drawing. You can move them around, you can zoom in, you can twist them and turn them, and it's just a really nice way to change up the look of your drawing. And of course, what collage would be complete without going back into it, drawing over the top, adding extra shapes, extra colours, extra line, and just adding some finishing touches. So it's all very well and good making your pattern, but what next? It's always nice to see designs in context, so for this little section, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way of how to put your pattern onto a Mary Quant dress. Open a blank page and on the bottom layer, on the layer tab on the right, insert your pattern, making sure it's not too small on the page. And on the layer above, insert the dress that you want to use. Now, select the eraser tool and you can change the size and the opacity of this and start rubbing out the top layer of the dress, and your pattern should emerge underneath. Remember, you can pinch to zoom in with 2 fingers to make this step easier. There's so many different ways that you can try this technique. You can try having a really small pattern in the background, you can have it much bigger, and you don't even need to rub out a whole dress. Try rubbing out just a pocket or a collar and see what you can come up with.